Welcome to the Realize Podcast, brought to you by Dr. Jacob Wilson and Dr. Jacobi Cleaver, optometrists combining their love for eye care and movies. We pick a movie, watch it, and review it while incorporating elements of optometry as it relates to clinical cases we've encountered in practice, current trends, and recent developments across the optometric industry. Seen any good movies lately? We have.
So sit back, grab a bucket of popcorn and your glasses, and let's have some fun.
Hey, just as promised, we are back with another episode of the Realize Podcast. My name is Dr. Jacobi Cleaver. I'm joined by my co-host, Dr. Jacob Wilson. And for those watching us on YouTube, you may notice another face on the screen with us this evening, our friend and colleague, Dr. Justin Kwan, and just before we introduce him and we get into tonight's movie, we always like to start with a fun clinical case that you might have encountered over the last week or so, or something optometry related that you might have done over the last week or so. So, Jacob, we'll have you kick it off, and then we'll get to Justin.
Okay. Well, hey. So yeah, I was telling Justin a little bit before we started recording. Kind of had a crazy day in clinic today. I was the walk-in doctor at our clinic, which on some days that doesn't mean much. You know, it depends on what comes in. That means I don't really have many scheduled patients. I just see any ocular emergencies that come in. Mm-hmm. Today I had quite a few things come in. I had a metallic foreign body that I removed. I had a couple, had some pretty bad diabetic macular edema. And with a patient, some proliferative diabetic retinopathy, which you'll see diabetic retinopathy all the time, depending on where you practice. One thing I saw today, though, which we'll see tomorrow, how interesting it ends up being. But what's cool about working in a hospital setting, and I mentioned this last week too, is that sometimes other specialties will come and grab us. And so today, the ICU, one of the docs from the ICU came over and said, hey, these pupils on this patient that had some facial trauma just don't look quite right. Can you come check those out? So I went in and, you know, she was all cut up. I don't know what happened to her. I didn't ask, but she was all cut up. She was all stitched up down across her face. They were going to intubate her, and she was kind of in and out of it. And here I am with a pen light, just checking her pupils really quick. And it's not a thing you do in most optometry settings where you get to be in a room with that kind of trauma. And not everyone wants to do that, but I thought it was exciting that I got to be helpful in that situation. She did have a stuck mid-dilated pupil in the left eye, no APD, and they did run a CT scan, and there didn't seem to be any lesions in the brain that might have been causing that. So what I'm guessing, and we'll see her again once she's a little bit more stable, what I'm guessing is there's probably some damage to the iris. And that is causing the pupil to be mid-dilated. But so nothing too exciting, but I know we get a lot of students and residents listening, and there's just so many ways to practice optometry, and that's something I never thought I'd be doing when I was in school.
Right, yeah, and you're absolutely right about that. And speaking of the different ways to practice optometry, I think that's a good segue into introducing Justin this evening. So, Justin, please give the audience a couple fun facts about yourself. What does the day in the life of optometrist Justin look like in your current role, and how you support it, and what's your mission going forward?
Yeah, sure thing. Well, a few fun facts or hobbies. We're in the middle of fantasy football draft season, so I'm a little bit perplexed that I'm in 5 leagues. It's not been my most, so that might scare some of you, but 2 is a healthy amount, right? But and I'm excited to go camping with my 8-year-old son this weekend. It's kind of like the Scouts kickoff. It's his first time doing that, and ready to watch him also, be running back again in flag football season. So that's exciting. And a fun fact, my daughter is just turned 7. We share the same birthday. So that's
sweet.
Cool. 1 in 365 chance, I guess. Yeah. That was really special a couple weeks ago. But yeah, really quick, I spent 35 years in California, Berkeley undergrad, Berkeley optometry, did a dry eye contact lens residency at SECO and taught there for 8 years, and then moved to Chicago in 2018, was in private practice, and have been with Cooper Vision for the past 5.5 years. So I guess my case is relevant because my daughter's friend has a younger sister. She's in kindergarten, and supposedly she's failed the school vision screening in March, then passed it a week later. Then, the back to school eye exams happen. Her mom's like, shoot, she only can see 2200 in the right eye. And here we have her saying she knows that her right eye is her bad eye. I brought the Leia chart over to their house, double checked it. She was 2025, like plus a couple letters. So like, why is it really blurry, then really clear? And just to be on the safe side, she went and saw a pediatric ophthalmologist in the hospital system here in Chicago. And sadly, she does have an optic pit with a Ceres RD. So they're going to try to do laser to salvage what they can. So that makes sense, right? The fluid's coming in, it's coming out. So her vision's like, coming in and out as well. But man, for a 5-year-old, just breaks her heart, right?
Yeah.
Wow. No, I've never heard of anything like that. So was the fluid? So obviously the fluid was impeding on the macula, which was causing the distortion and a decrease in vision transient. Now, would that be based on head position or?
I don't know, because I feel like every time we measure VA, she's had it measured, 5 times in the past 4 months. It's always from a standing or seated position. You would think the fluid would come down out of the macula, but maybe the separation and the strength of the retina between the nerve and the macula, who knows? Yeah.
Whoa, that's pretty impressive, man. That's a pretty cool case.
Yeah, I know. It kind of caught us all by surprise because I was breathing a sigh of relief when I measured 2025. But that thing that sticks in the back of your mind, you don't want to lose sleep over, is like, let's just have somebody else look at it, right? Yeah,
of course.
Because she's a reliable child. She's not malingering. She's not wanting to get glasses. She's one of the brightest kids I know, and super sweet, and just like, wish it wasn't her, or anyone for that matter. So.
Wow. Yeah, we'll have to follow up with you. Yeah, we have to follow up with you and get get a follow up. Because I definitely like to know the outcome of that. Hopefully,
definitely been texting with the optho on that. So yeah, hopefully I'll have an update when she gets treatment.
You said they might do some laser treatment for that?
Yeah, probably barricade around the nerve to hopefully limit the fluid from heading towards the macula. But they didn't have a strong prognosis. Like,
really,
not my area of expertise, but yeah, yeah.
Well, I guess a barricade would make sense. I mean, I guess if you was treating any other essential series, and you're typically looking for the type A individual, high strung, high stress. Obviously, that's not what's going on in a 5-year-old. You would look for those things to kind of resolve on its own, but that may not be the case here because you would hate for that to seep up under the macula and then continue and then start to take the rest of the retina with it. I would assume. Yeah, so barricade seems like it would make a lot of sense, but that's a fantastic case. I'm hoping the best possible outcome for it. Though.
Me too, man. Yeah,
for sure. Well, I can't even follow up with that. It's been pretty boring in my clinic this past week, and every now and then I take boring, which is more than fine. But man, tonight's feature, Jacob has been asking me to watch this for about the last couple of weeks or so, and I guess I didn't know that this movie had been out since around June, from what I found online or whatever else. But just a couple of fun facts before we get into the title here. So to date, this is Netflix's most popular movie of all time with 236 million views. It was in the theaters for 2 days, and in those 2 days, it sold out over 1,000 theaters. And then it grossed over $18 million in just 2 days, and I think Justin said he and his kids did go and watch it in the theaters over this past week.
We did.
Yeah, so nice. Jacob mentioned this the other day, and not that I don't believe Jacob, but I, trust but verify. I went back, and then this soundtrack does have 4 songs in the top, in the Billboard top 10 right now, which is almost unheard of for a soundtrack. And I'm older than you guys. I'm sure. So back in the 90s, when you did movies and soundtracks, the soundtracks was a big deal. Now, they still hold a role now, but just not like they did back in those days. And Netflix and Sony are already in talks about making a sequel to this. Now, what movie could be this possible? Yes, 2. What movie could be this popular? None other than K-pop Demon Hunters. The animated musical. Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, we watch it all over here. We watch and review everything, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yay.
Well, I mean, you got the word demon in there. I'm gonna watch it. I'm a big horror guy. So. No, I was blown away when I actually sat down and watched this whole movie. And I was telling Justin how I have a sister-in-law who's always trying to get me to watch anime stuff. And I don't know if you would count this as anime, but she brought this up, and I was like, yeah, okay. But I watched it, and from the first song, I was pretty hooked.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So yeah, Jacobi mentioned pretty much everything I was going to say. They have 4 songs in the top 10 right now. And I think all of them, if you go through, are in like the top 30. All the songs are, which is just incredible. I went to see a different movie this week at the theater, and there were so many kids there with the Rumi wigs on. And
Oh, nice.
So yeah, it was a fantastic movie. Let's talk a little bit about it. Another thing I'll say is just it's a genius idea the way they did this, and I'll kind of say why as we go through. But yeah, so the movie starts out really it was kind of similar to the way Sinners starts. I don't know, Justin, did you see the movie Sinners?
I haven't, no.
So Sinners starts out talking about how there's a certain power in music, and it's a little different, but that music can call ancestors and do all of this stuff. And this movie starts out talking about there's this evil force in the world, and he sends demons out, and he takes people's souls. And the way that humans fight this is actually with hunters that hunt the demons, and they defeat the demons with their voices, essentially. And it's foretold that someday the music that the hunters sing is going to be so powerful that it's going to completely seal the demons to the underworld forever. So that's kind of how the movie starts out. A little, I mean, if I tell you that and it's a cartoon, I think I might lose half the people I'm talking to right there. Right? Like, okay, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
But then the movie starts, and we start out with we meet our 3 current day hunters. So we go, at the beginning, we go through these different time periods, and we see it's always 3 women, and they're the hunters from, whether it's 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 50 years ago. We see them in different time periods doing different types of music. And today's version is K-pop, which K-pop is huge all around the world right now.
Unstoppable force. Yeah.
Has been. I love Blackpink, and if I ever get to meet Lisa someday, I think I'll have accomplished all my goals in life. But
actually, Jacob, they took over like Lollapalooza in Chicago. Like K-pop was everywhere. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm sad I didn't discover it until probably like 6 months ago, to be honest. But yeah, so that's what they are in this movie. They're K-pop stars. They're called Huntrix, and they're the hunters. But no one knows. That's important too. No one knows that they're out here hunting demons. As far as the world is concerned, they are just K-pop megastars. So we get introduced to them. It's Rumi is the lead singer with the purple hair. She's my favorite. But I like them all. But I love Rumi, and I love her voice. Zoe with black hair, and Zoe has her own personality. She's pretty feisty, and she's ready to take out anybody. And then you have Mira, and Mira's kind of like this kind of just like quiet and mysterious, but she has some of the coolest rap lines in the show too. So yeah, so we meet the 3 of them. How it starts is their manager is freaking out because he can't find them, and a concert's getting ready to start. And he checks their location, and the 3 girls are on a plane headed the opposite direction. And what's happened is some demons have posed as a flight crew and have tricked the girls into flying away from their concert. And I guess the demons had some plan. They were going to overpower them later. But then the girls get hip to what's going on, and they, this is where the first song comes out, and it's called "This Is How It's Done." And I'm telling you, if you weren't into this movie yet, by the time the beat drops on this song, you will be. I could almost guarantee that for most people I know. This song was so awesome. And so what they do is they're singing, they're rapping, they're dancing, they're doing all of this. And while they're doing that, they're chopping these demons up with these like spirit swords they have.
Mhm.
And it's so genius because it's a performance that's happening. It's a sing along, but it's also a movie that's happening. Would you guys any thoughts up to this point, or what do you guys think getting up to this point?
I just like that they had ramen on the airplane. That's like so.
Yeah.
I appreciate that so much.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Justin, because that's kind of what tipped them off that things wasn't right. Because they kind of go through this
Yeah.
pre-show ritual, and they kind of
Yes.
eat a lot of stuff, and then they finish up by eating the ramen, and the ramen didn't have any water in it. The ramen wasn't ready to be eaten, and then that's when they realized that the crew wasn't actually crew, and they were in fact demons. So yeah, so that was pretty genius.
Yeah. And I should say the demons are pretty goofy looking. Like for anyone that's hearing that name and is worried it's gonna scare kids or something, I really don't think it would. They're pretty goofy and yeah.
I think for kindergarten and older, totally fine. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. This is an easy watch, man, from start to finish. And Jacob mentioned that he just kind of got introduced to K-pop 6 months ago. I just got introduced to it about 2 days ago when I watched this movie. So, and so not knowing anything about it, but hearing the music and it was visually appealing. The entire movie, it flowed extremely easily, just like I would expect any animated movie to flow. But this was really good and really enjoyable. So like Justin said, this is appropriate for anybody, even what would you call someone less than a novice? Because that's what I am when it comes to K-pop. So I'm less than a novice regarding K-pop, but I did find this to be extremely entertaining and good.
Well, Jacobi, I'll invite you to go look up Lisa's most recent album. So Lisa is one of the members of Blackpink, and they're still together, but they all go off and do their own individual things. Lisa's latest album is great. I mean, she's got Future on there. She's got Doja Cat on there.
Oh, yeah?
It's great.
Okay.
Right.
So wait a minute. So she's part of a group called Blackpink.
Yeah.
So which one? And I may be getting this all crisscross. So who is responsible for making Labubu extremely popular?
Labubu?
Yeah.
I
may be off base, but someone told me, and it may be someone else, but someone told me that someone bought a Labubu and then they had it hitched on their Birkin purse. Someone who's extremely popular. I have to go back and look it up, and then that would kind of just spawn this whole Labubu craze. That's what my buddy told me. I'm not sure. I didn't look it up yet, but that's just what I've heard. Am I far off base?
No, it was Lisa.
Okay, no, we got it.
I'm Googling right now.
I know.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, because Labubu and Jacob, I know you have a few of these. And
they're not mine. They're Jenny and Mackenzie's. I'll throw that out there.
Okay. Justin, do you and your kids have any Labubus?
We don't. I think my daughter finds them a little scary looking.
I can see where she's coming from with that.
And it's crazy. They're just these little toys. But yeah, that's how much pull K-pop stars have in the world.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the Huntrix girls are the same way, right? So anyways, they get through that song. It's pretty cool. They jump out of the plane at one point, and they're like dicing up and the demons in the sky, and they're rapping. Then my favorite line, I think it's Amira. She says her fit checks from her Napalm era.
Era, yeah.
Some of the lyrics are so great, and I was blown away. But then they land on the stage and they kill the demons in front of everyone, and I guess the public just thinks that was an act.
Right, they just think it's part of the show. I mean, even the manager just thinks it's part of the show.
Right? Yeah, no one knows except they have like a someone who's kind of like their leader or pseudo guide, I guess. It reminds me of like Charlie and Charlie's Angels. Like they just go visit her sometimes, I guess. But yeah, so they perform. You see how wildly popular they are. And then they are going to go take a break, and then they decide to release a new song called Golden.
Right. Yeah.
But as they're singing, what do you say? You lost me?
Yeah. You're back
You're
now.
back.
We got you. Yeah, we internet kind of went out for a second.
Oh, okay. It's been storming out here, so I have Starlink, so I wonder if it's messing with it. But
Hey, we all right.
all right. But anyways, Rumi goes to practice singing Golden, their new hit song, and she loses her voice while she's singing. And it's pretty distressing, not only because is the voice important for their career and performance and their fans and all of that. The voice is what she's using to, defeat the demons. And ultimately
Mhm.
her voice is going to be needed to seal what's called the Honmoon, which is how would you guys describe what that is? It's basically like a spiritual force field that would protect everyone from the demons. Was there more
Yeah, I
to
mean,
that?
Yeah.
in the beginning of the movie, they described it as a shield, so that's what I just kind of went with.
Yeah.
Okay.
The word moon means door. And the funny thing
Oh,
is, I'm Chinese, my wife's Korean, but moon is the same word for door. Yeah.
really?
Okay,
So
got
like a
you.
shield
All
door,
right.
if you will. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, cool. And they're going to seal it. So once they make it gold, so the whole movie, the whole moon is blue. You see like ripples or lines of it throughout the movie.
Hmm.
Once it turns gold, that means that it's sealed and the demons can no
Mm.
longer get to them. So that's what's cool that
Hmm.
their song's called Golden. This is supposed to be their song that finally gets it done. But we find out that Rumi's losing her voice. Not only do we find that out, an important part here is all the demons, they have patterns. So whenever they're not sure someone's a demon or not, they'll see like a little pattern. It's like a bluish purple, kind
Hmm.
of like almost a crack that comes across their skin. We find out that Rumi has these patterns, and she's been hiding them her whole life. She won't go into the bathhouse with her friends. She always has a long sleeve shirt on. All of that. Those patterns mean that she is part demon, and that's something she's been hiding. And she's hoping that she's been promised that once they seal the Honmoon, then those patterns are going to go away and she won't have to be ashamed of that anymore and all of this. So there's this whole theme already starting to form of, self-acceptance and shame and doubt and things like that. So
I
that's
think that's
happening.
why she wanted to release Golden sooner, just to get to the end goal so quickly when they needed to rest, right? And
Right.
yeah, that was
Great
sort of a
point.
rush thing,
Great
and
point.
maybe it's like the whole thing in our lives that we just keep chasing and chasing, and maybe sometimes forget about the self-care and pausing and reflection and stuff. But I can put myself in her shoes and want to also achieve that final victory, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Or
Mhm.
maybe there's things that are so that we don't like about ourselves that we work so hard to try and change or hide.
Mhm.
And then we don't
Yeah.
realize that just kind of embracing that is the way forward.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
some beautiful lessons from this movie. I'm telling you, maybe more so than any other movie we've done, Jacoby.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
um, so yeah, so that's what happens, and then so she's kind of struggling with that. They don't know why she's struggling with her voice. They're worried about it. They have to postpone some shows, and then we go down into the underworld, or I don't know if the underworld's what I'm calling
Yeah.
it, but where the demons are, and we meet kind of this. What guys help me out here? What was the name of the force? I can't.
Watcha or what is it? Yeah.
Like Jim Y, I think it was.
Here, let me
Yeah,
just say it so we get it right here. Uh,
yeah.
Demon King name. Just typing random stuff. People here.
Guima, right?
Yep,
Yeah,
Guima. There
that's
we
it.
go.
Yeah.
So, and Guima's it's more of a he's more of just an entity, a force. He's portrayed as flames, right? He's not really an embodied
Mhm.
demon or anything like that. But anyways, he's you can tell he has all these demons under his spell. He keeps them down and under control. He's always shaming them. And these 5 demons come forward and they have a plan to defeat Huntrix. And they're going to pose as a boy K-pop band or a boy band, right? The Sasha Boys. And
Hmm.
again, it was so genius. So they go up to Earth, I guess, and they pretend to be a boy band. And they're just like these really kind of mysterious, attractive, fun boys, and they do a song in the middle of a square. and it's called Soda Pop. And Jacobi, I think you were saying this is your favorite song.
Yeah, man, Soda Pop is my favorite. I mean,
So catchy.
outside of Golden, Soda Pop is my favorite song on the throughout the whole movie.
Okay. Yeah, Soda Pop. You know what's funny is I've watched this movie a couple times with little kids now, and Soda Pop seems to be their favorite one to dance to. I don't know if there's like something to the beat, but even like my friend's 11-month-old baby, we put on Soda Pop, and she's just immediately
Moving.
There we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they sing Soda Pop in the square, and the girls are like, "What's going on here?" This is after the girls have gone to try and get Rumi's voice fixed by. He's kind of like a quack doctor who, you know, says he's gonna fix her voice, but he doesn't really do anything. But they then see the boys in the square singing, and Mira and Zoe at first are pretty enamored, right? Their eyes turn into hearts and they're in love. But Rumi knows something's up here, something's not quite right, and then she sees the patterns on the boys as they're performing, and they realize that they're demons. Right. And so, but you know, they put on that performance. They're pretty cool. There's 5 of them. My favorite was the one guy. His name's Abby. And it's just because he has a bunch of abs. It's so funny. But yeah, and then the main guy in the Sasha Boys and the boy band is Genu, and then he ends up being pretty important a little later on. So those are our first 2 major songs, first 3 really. We haven't heard all of Golden yet, but so we've gotten through Soda Pop, Golden, and This Is How It's Done. And so yeah, now we know what the movie's going to be about. It's going to be a battle between the Sasha Boys and Huntrix. Did you guys add anything up to that point?
It's all about the fans, right? It's a struggle.
It's all about the fans. Yes, Justin. So I had to ask Justin before we continue, Jacob. Did your kiddos have a favorite song, or anyone that they just kind of gravitated to?
The kids, they like all of them, but yeah, Golden, I think for sure. Like you see them vibing, singing at the top of their lungs, and my son's trying to play it on the piano, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, I've seen you make a couple posts about it. It seems like you guys are having a lot of fun with it at your house there.
We are.
And I think all across America it's like that. I think I haven't really met anyone that hasn't enjoyed it yet.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so we, and they have a couple run-ins after that, like on a late night show, and it's pretty funny. Like Huntrix show up to try and defeat them, but the Sasha Boys outsmart them and put them on a late night show, and they're not going to kill them on live TV. So they're kind of just getting outsmarted, going back and forth. And then one night, Genu, he has this cat tiger. It's a tiger, but his name's Derpy. And he sends Derpy. He's a spirit demon cat, but he's nice. And he has a friend, a little black bird with a hat. What I realized later is that the hat belongs to the tiger. The bird likes to wear the hat. It was pretty funny. But anyways, Derpy goes and takes a message to Rumi and gets Rumi to meet up with Genu. And, there's kind of this push and pull, will they, won't they, between them. We learn a little bit about Genu's background, that he had basically he had left his was it his mom and his sister? Yeah, he left his mom and his
but initially he said that he was granted the voice in order to help his family get out of poverty. That was the first story that he told. Yeah, that's what he told Rumi the first time that they met.
Right. Okay. And then we learn later that wasn't the whole story. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then they go back and forth a little bit, and then I think we get to, let me know if I'm skipping something here, but I think we get to my second favorite song of the whole movie. And it's when Genu and Rumi sing together.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, so this is after they've met a couple times now, I think. Yeah, so I'm just trying to remember. I don't think we skipped anything in between then. Justin, am I missing anything? I think that's it.
I think you guys got it's like all that self-reflection and how could they somehow both achieve their end goal, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And this is the song that comes up as the one that Jacobi and I were flying to on Instagram.
Yeah, free.
Shout out to Mackenzie, man. A lot of people ask me how I did that. I said I don't have any idea.
I was wondering the same thing. Which AI did you use? Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Mackenzie for putting that together because I was totally shocked. Normally, she just puts stuff together and then I see it after it's been posted. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of shocked to see it just like everybody else. But yeah, that one was pretty funny.
It was.
I don't know how
Yeah.
she did it. So Justin, Mackenzie is my wife's best friend, and she's also our
Oh,
social media manager. Um,
perfect.
I don't know how
Yeah.
she did it, but I knew she was gonna do it, and I just asked Jacobi to send Mackenzie a nice picture of him in clinic.
There you
I didn't
go.
want to tell you what was gonna happen though, so I wanted when I saw you
Yeah.
flying all over the place. That was pretty funny. Um,
So good.
but basically, yeah, they sing this song called "Free," and the whole song is about both of them. Can they turn away from Genu, what he's done in the past to his family, and can Rumi, hide from these patterns, this hidden shame that she has? And they talk about being together and breaking free. And there's a scene where that chorus starts, the free chorus starts, and they go flying into the night sky,
Mhm.
which is kind of what
Yes.
the AI really might have saw was trying to emulate. But
Yes.
but yeah, that song's pretty great. A lot of deep meaning behind that one too.
Yeah.
So yeah, they meet and they're kind of on the same team now, is at least what it seems like. They're on the same team. But then Genu, this is when he goes back to down to Guima, and Guima says, "Did you really think I was going to let this happen? You didn't even tell her everything." And what we learn is that he didn't just use the voice to get him and his family out of poverty. He used it to get himself out of poverty, and he left his daughter, or he left his mom and his sister behind in poverty. He completely abandoned them. So pretty messed up thing to do. It seems like it's been 400 or 500 years since it's happened, but he obviously carries all that guilt and weight with him. And so basically he's kind of threatened or blackmailed back into like, no, you need to continue with the plan and you need to go defeat Huntrix. Because he
Yeah,
was going to let,
which is a fantastic point because he asks um Genoa to get rid of his memories. He doesn't want to have the memories even more as he
Mhm.
moves forward with the rest of his life. So that's why that was such a big deal. That's why he agreed to be a part of the boy, started the boy band to begin with, right? So, but yeah, but no, I was because I finished watching that today, right before we hopped on. I was pretty upset about about old Jinwoo, man. Like, come on, man. Like, what are you doing here? I
yeah,
mean,
no,
who's a
he
bad
Oz
guy?
was not
Like,
a very good guy.
to leave
Yeah.
your mother and your sister while he said he ate good with a full belly every single night with in the palace or whatever. I was like, man, you a jerk, man.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Maybe he deserved to be a demon, right? At that
Yeah,
point.
no
He's
kidding,
kind of,
man. Like,
that's
but at one point, because Jacob, you brought up the song that they just sung, "Free." At that point, I guess at least temporarily, he didn't have any of the memories, so he kind of felt pretty good about himself at that point. And then that's when he gets banished back down to, I guess we keep calling it the underworld, and he's reminded, yeah, I own you, or you're blackmailing me. I'm blackmailing you. We need you to continue with this job, like you said.
right. Yeah. And so yeah, but he doesn't tell Rumi, like he's already had this agreement with Rumi that they're going to lose on purpose so that they can seal the whole moon and everything. But then after Guima, after he, gets threatened again, basically he goes back on this, but Rumi doesn't know that. And so Rumi and Zoe and Mira have been preparing a song to beat the Saja boys at basically the Idol Awards, which are going to happen later on. And that's where they're going to seal the honeymoon. But the song that they've been coming up with is actually filled more with, I won't say hate, but it's more of a negative song. It's called Takedown, right?
Yeah,
And
it's a diss song. It's a good old fashioned diss track.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think I heard that Kendrick Lamar wrote it actually. Kendrick or Drake, depending on which side you're on there. But yeah, but Rumi's like, guys, I don't know if this is the song that's gonna do it. It's not. It's filled with so much negativity. It's a good song. It's a catchy song. So they're really struggling to write the lyrics and come up with this song. And so then they go to do a performance, But what she doesn't know is that the demons have impersonated Zoe and Mira. Rumi doesn't know this. And so she goes out with who she thinks are her group mates, but it's actually demons. They start to perform, and then suddenly they switch to Takedown, the song Takedown. And Rumi's like, guys, I thought we agreed we weren't going to do this. What's going on? But then she's trying to go with it and perform. And basically what it is the demons stage this big falling out on stage where they get into a fight and they kind of push each other, and like a big band breakup. Think about like Fifth Harmony or something like that breaking up when they broke up, or Destiny's Child. I know they didn't really break up, but when they lost like their fourth member and everything, that's what it's like. It's like this big public breakup that's happened. And that's a big deal because the fans are divided here. And then when the Huntrix breaks up, all the fans go to the Sasha Boys. And so that's kind of where we're at here going into the Idol Awards now. There pretty much is no Huntrix, right? And so then Rumi kind of goes on this journey of self-discovery. She goes back to, I guess it's like, do they say what her relation is to the lady that raised her?
I think that's what's Celine or Cecilia? I think that's her aunt. Yeah, I think it's her aunt.
Yeah.
It's her aunt. Okay.
Or if not her aunt, then it is a close family friend. But my thought is that's her aunt.
Okay. Yeah, or yeah, and I think she might have been like the manager for her, because her mom was also a hunter. I guess we didn't mention.
Right, and then but her dad was
a demon.
Exactly.
But basically, this aunt is who's been telling Rumi her whole life, you have to hide this. You have to hide, you have to hide these patterns. They can't know this. They won't understand. They won't accept you. All of this. And so during this time, though, where she's had this breakup with Zoe and Mira, she goes and talks to her aunt, and she's kind of having a lot of self-reflecting. And she realizes, this is who I am. I don't need to hide this. And she finds that there's actually more power in accepting herself than there is in just then trying to hide it, And they did a lot much better. The last movie I saw that tried to do a good job with this was Frozen. Elsa's supposed to hide her powers the whole time. I thought this one blew Frozen out of the water, though. But the Sasha Boys start performing. Okay, this is all happening in real time. Sasha Boys start performing. They sing a song called Your Idol, which is another great song. There are so many bangers. All these songs are rightfully on the Billboard top, I have to say. But this song is actually, they're hypnotizing the fans and all around the world. This is the demons taking back the home moon or destroying it, really. Yeah. And this is their plan, and it's working. And even Mira and Zoe are in the crowd, and they're even getting entranced by this song. But then Rumi shows up. Rumi's been on this journey to find herself, and she shows up and falls before Sasha Boys and Guima, who are on stage. And, they're basically, Guima's like, you're half demon, they're not going to accept you. The home moon's gonna, it's gonna shatter. It's gonna be destroyed. And Rumi's just like, yeah, you're right. So we can build a new one. And then this is where the song What It Sounds Like starts. It's called What It Sounds Like. I don't think this song gets enough love, guys, to be honest. It is my absolutely favorite song in the whole movie. And when these lyrics started, I was like, I could have shed a tear watching this song. But basically, it's a song, and they say, this is the song we couldn't write. And Zoe and Mira get on the stage, and they're singing together. And they say they broke into a million pieces and they can't go back, but now I see the beauty in the broken glass. It was beautiful. What'd you guys think of this moment?
No, it was a good song.
Oh
Great song.
Yeah. I mean, as the climax of the movie, the contrast where it just drops in volume, and then her walking out, and then Mira and Zoe walking out too. Especially because that sea of red, right? You were saying how the demons have basically taken over the entire stadium arena, and the blue was lost. And it's just funny, right? Because a lot of other movies, whether it's Star Wars or even think about the G.I. Joes, the enemy is red and then the good guys are blue, light or beams, yeah. But that contrast was epic. Yeah, that was a really good moment. Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. And Guima can feel the power that this song is having. He can tell this is the one that
Mm.
might seal it all. And he then just unleashes all the demons.
Yeah.
And then while this is what's so cool about it. While they're singing this song, they are fighting like dozens of demons, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
invite you to go, and I'm not a big anime guy, but find your favorite animated, movie. Or Dragon Ball Z was one as a kid that I compare those fight scenes to what happens in this part of the movie. It's right up there with the best like animated action like fighting scenes I've ever seen. And they're
Yeah.
singing this beautiful song the whole time that it
Yeah. Yeah.
happens.
So
So
good.
yeah, it's great. And then we get Jinu's kind of bit of redemption arc here, where he basically sacrifices himself. He blocks Guima's power so that the girls can finish their song and completely seal the whole moon. And Jinu dies, at least for now in this movie. But he dies,
Mhm.
sacrifices himself, and then the whole moon is sealed, and the girls win. And basically that's the movie. I
Yeah.
mean, there's probably a couple details there at the end. Is there
Mhm.
anything else you guys think you would add there at the end?
No, they finally take a break. They take some rest. They go to the spa.
Right.
Everything, they're back to
Yeah.
relaxing. They're not just going like they was in the beginning of the movie, where specifically Rumi was in the beginning of the movie. So now you see the girls just relaxing and enjoying the fruits of their labor.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
The
Rumi
fans
now.
find them very approachable, and that's always a good thing to see that they're not too cool for their fans. And hey, I got a request. So I feel like the three of us have got to go to that Korean spa, any Korean spa, the Chimjobang is what they call it.
Okay.
That'll only like
Yeah,
seal this podcast. So we'll find a day and a time to do it.
yeah, for sure, for
I'd love
sure.
to.
Yeah.
For sure.
Jacoby, have you ever done a K spa before?
I have not.
They're pretty
Right.
great. You've done them, Justin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done it twice. Once here in the States and once in Korea with my 80-year-old like uncle-in-law. So that was an experience.
Oh, sweet, sweet. Yeah, we got to find something, man. Maybe we can find some time in the academy
Yeah,
or something.
yeah,
Who knows?
for
Um,
sure.
I've done it once, and it was funny. One of my best friends, his name, I won't say his name, but one of my best friends, our wives were out of town, and I was like, "Hey, let's hang out. We'll have some bro time." Actually, I don't think Jenny was out of that. I think she was studying, but she didn't want me around because she was studying for finals and stuff,
Uh-huh.
whatever. So I met up with him, and he's like, "Do you want to go to a K spa?" And I was like, "I've never done that, but that sounds great." And so he picks me up, and we're on the way, and we're like halfway there, and he's like, "By the way, it's completely nude. Are you okay with that?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay." I was like,
Oh,
"Yeah, I guess
yeah.
we're good
Too
friends,
late
so
to
whatever."
turn
He's like, "It's
back.
separated male and female," so but I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
But it was one of the best, like most relaxing days I've ever had. They had
Really?
pools
Okay.
at different temperatures. It was great. It was cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
Surprise,
not a lot.
Jacoby.
Yeah, well, now I'm looking forward to it. Now I have to check it out. But, well, wasn't a lot of
Bromance.
optometry related stuff in here, but our reason for having Justin on tonight is because he's or this evening or this morning, whatever time you decide to watch the pod or listen to the pod, is that he is an expert, one of the leading experts in our field for myopia control. So we just kind of wanted to have a conversation about that for
Yeah.
a few minutes. Any tips that he can provide to the listeners? Because a lot of our listeners are within the optometry realm, but a lot of our listeners are outside of the optometry realm. So if we can kind of educate parents or anybody who may have some younger kiddos, then we definitely want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So time back to the movie for a sec. In Korea, maybe a decade ago, there's a study that just did eye exams on every Korean army male because in South Korea, they're required to all serve in the army for a period of time. And even back then, 90% of those men had myopia. But a lot of what we know about myopia control, thanks to like Mark Bullimore, Asians and Asian Americans, they tend to worsen 38% faster than their non-Asian counterparts.
Oh
And
wow.
surprisingly, I think people think it's at least half genetics, but it can be as little as 5% genetics. The difference is you can imagine perhaps Asian parents might raise their children with less outdoor time, more rigorous academic demands, if you will. So that lifestyle part of like, I knew that I was like doing homework with my eye like this close to the page and I was reading a ton.
Mhm.
So my baseball time, my tennis time couldn't quite outdo, I guess, the near work. And I'm a minus 10. And a fun fact is I already had a PVD about 6 years ago at the age of 36. So yeah, it's very real. Thankfully, my children still have a little bit of hyperopia left. But I think if you think about myopia control in the year 2025 going into 2026, there's, I guess, a lot of exciting treatments that'll be, FDA approved in 2026. But we can be confident that it's already standard of care as of like 4 years ago. The World Council of Optometry declared it. We have great ophthalmology support, maybe surprisingly or not. Even the pediatric ophthalmologists have gotten behind it as well. So I feel confident that, it's just a part of primary eye care, like documented in your assessment and plan that you discuss your treatments and follow these families. They'll, hop on a Facebook group or talk to another mom at practice. And yeah, I see that word of mouth happening pretty darn quickly. And if I could offer one tip on how to have a short but effective conversation chairside, we've learned from really successful ODs that have been doing this a while, but just describing myopia as, hey, your child's eyes are growing too long, too fast, they're getting weaker. But we have great news. We can finally treat this from getting worse as they grow. And yeah, it's a contact lens, but they're going to enjoy like taekwondo, basketball, so much more. And really important this time of year, they're going to learn more efficiently in third grade, fourth grade, and so on, just by having clear vision. And I love that, at least for contact lenses, you get both in one. You get the vision correction and the treatment. And some cool like science about this is like, if you think about a car going 100 miles per hour, let's say you slam on the brakes. You're not stopping that car in 5 feet or 10 feet, but the sooner you start treatment, the more bang for your buck, which is really cool because I call this the best investment in healthcare. If you think about like maybe even SLT for glaucoma, a portion of those patients might need to go back onto drops or get MIGs, in diabetes, you talked about retinopathy, Jacob, like they, start on metformin or what have you, maybe a decade later, they might have to go to insulin. So treatment is forever in a lot of these chronic illness and disease states. But in myopia control, treatments are not forever. Let's call it like 2 to 5 years, but the benefits are forever, right? Because you lock in that final -3, and it wasn't a -5, and the rest of your life you don't have to use MiSight or CRT, and you still get that risk reduction for myopic maculopathy, which I don't know. I think the latest estimates is that myopic maculopathy is going to lead to more visual impairment than even macular degeneration and diabetic retinopathy. So it's a problem, right? It's too big of a problem to just be for a few specialists. I think at least 30,000 ODs need to be doing this consistently, and time is of the essence. But that's kind of like most of my thoughts on the topic.
No, I think if you do myopia by the numbers, and I know me and Jacob discussed this on a previous episode, by 2050, a significant amount of the population is going to be myopic. Then it would make sense that myopic maculopathy would
We'll
be
catch up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It makes total sense. It makes total sense.
Yeah.
Especially when we're talking about macular degeneration and everything else in comparison. Because we know macular degeneration kind of affects a special subset of the population. Not everybody is at risk of this, but myopia can touch every single person, right? Every ethnicity, every race, every gender, as far as that's concerned. So what conversation?
Uh-huh.
Well, I got two questions. So when would you start to have this conversation with patients? Like what is the best age to have this conversation with the pediatric patient and their parent? And then is this something you would talk about on the initial visit? Like if you just seen them for the first time, or would you wait for the second visit and you notice the change in the myopic shift?
Yeah. I talk to a lot of ODs in, retail settings, corporate settings, private practice, you name it. And I feel like most ODs, even in retail, are comfortable seeing children as young as 4 years old.
Mhm.
Maybe they don't want to do infancy or age 2, age 3, but preschool and older, I think I would at least like broach the topic, even if they're +1 cycloplegic, and just like, hey, this could be in the future, and it's important to keep seeing your child once a year. I think a lot of ODs say we just don't have a lot of kids in our practice, but I always say, hey, if you see 2,700 adults a year, let's just say half of them can have children or want to have children.
Right.
The average is 1.94 kids. That may change, but that means 2,700 adults could mean 2,700 children in your practice. But I don't think a lot of folks have a system to get those kids in, or maybe it is a shift in mindset, like the early proactive care and education. But Jacobi, your question about like, do we like look for that -0.5 to become a 125 before we start treating? I'd say no. I think like the analog is we don't wait for a hemoglobin A1C to go from 6.7 to 7.2 before we do something. We're already past the pre-diabetes. We're into the full-on diabetes. So if you think about a -0.5 patient or -75, by definition, they progressed from +0.25 or something to become -75. So that's
Correct.
already a diopter of worsening. So that should kind of prove to you that, yeah, this train is only going one direction. And there's a lot of good data out there for untreated myopia that in children, it gets worse 96% of the time. Yeah.
Gotcha. And
I would start treating right away. Yeah.
start treating right away. And I work
Yeah.
in a community health setting, and I know Jacob's in a similar type setting out there on the
Mhm.
res. Is there any, and maybe you're not, maybe you can't answer this one, or maybe you can't answer it yet. Is there any way to get these programs or get my site into the community health setting or on the res or something? Because there's a significant amount of, and I don't see a lot of kids in my practice, but I would, if given the opportunity, I would love to, but
Yeah, just to mix
is
it up.
there something, and I know, these things, they have a certain price tag on them, and rightfully so. But
Yeah.
is it
Yeah.
something in the future that where it can be a staple in community health type settings?
Yeah, no, access is very near and dear to all of our hearts. And I do possibly see a way where if your practice setting has fourth year externs, sometimes the host school, the 24 optometry schools, will have a program that CooperVision does called Give Brightly. So
Mm,
there's possibly a way for CooperVision to cover the cost of the annual supply of MiSight or off-label Biofinity, let's say, and then you just collect your services, whether it's a 99 code or what have you. In many children's hospitals around the country, heavy Medicaid, we're talking like
right.
90% Medicaid population, somehow they're finding a way to just like chew off 6 months at a time. It's not inexpensive. It's still like, let's say $600 for a 6 month supply. But sometimes culturally, we're finding like, you grab some help from the grandparents, or
Mhm.
there's a way to maybe not today, but we'll save up over the next couple of months. And but I feel like the insurance coverage aspect of it is still a big question mark. There's been like Aetna, United Health, a lot of folks have looked at it, but as you all know, I think because it's such a prevalent disease, these insurance companies would go out of business if they covered it to any appreciable extent.
Mm,
But CooperVision, we're committed to providing access, so we have a few ways to make the burden of cost a lot less. Yeah.
gotcha.
Okay. And if Justin, if I were an OD, because I learned about myopia control in school and everything, but I would have
Yeah.
to imagine if you graduated 20 years ago, you probably didn't learn too much about it. If I'm an OD that wants to learn more about this, does
Yeah.
CooperVision have opportunities for me to come
Yeah.
learn a little bit more about it, incorporate it into my
Yeah.
practice, things like that?
Yeah, we do. The good news is there's no longer a certification, if you will. Like it's been in all the CEs, like online, in person. And honestly, there's no fitting guide. So if you know how to fit a single vision sphere, you could fit my sight.
Okay.
Obviously, CRT is a little bit more of a process, but the way you get started is just reach out to myself or your Cooper Vision rep, or we have also 25 myopia reps that can do staff training, help you set your fees, your visit schedule, all that jazz. So yeah, it's become pretty easy, as we've evolved
Cool.
over the past 5 years. I love that you brought that up, Jacob, because we surveyed the faculty at the schools, and on average, they formalized it in the curriculum around the year 2016. So
Okay.
about 9 years ago. If you graduated in 2014, 2015, you may not have had this formalized education, but again, you've likely picked it up in CE along the way now. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And I heard you say you think about 30,000 of us should be doing it. That's pretty much. Oh, that's pretty close
Yeah,
to
it's
all
like,
of us, right?
yeah,
So
out of
I said what, about
49,000, we need
70%,
like
75%?
2/3 of the profession. Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
that's a big thing. That means a lot. This is becoming the standard
Mhm.
of care, and I'm learning about it. I'm glad to have someone like you on here, Justin. We got to step up as ODs and
Yeah.
start doing this more. So
I also like to share that I've been creeping on some like parent Facebook groups, never
uh-huh.
commenting, just lurking. But my goodness, the volume of US parents trying to buy myopia control glasses from Canada is
Really?
really high. And in the same breath, I see them like, but we're doing soccer and we're doing like dance. I'm like, oh my gosh, why don't you just I think like parents still have this mental block that their child is too young, not responsible, can't safely wear contact lenses. And all three of us know that, goodness, not only do we have infants wearing contact lenses, we have a lot of
Mhm.
5, 6, and 7-year-olds wearing contact lenses too. So maybe, hopefully, in the next year, we can overcome this like parent fixation with glasses only. I mean, contact lenses are so life-giving and freeing.
right.
I'm preaching to the choir here, but it's just, man, I wish they only knew.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But word is spreading on these Facebook groups as well. And
Okay.
one of our doctors in San Antonio said, gosh, Justin, I was doing a half day in my private practice. There were 5 MySight patients I started. 3 out of 5 found MySight through a Facebook ad. And yeah, Cooper paid like over $1 million to like, advertise on Meta and Instagram. But it's good to see some of that pay off. But I always say like the trust is strongest from the adult patients that already trust you with their care, right? Like
Right.
they're going to trust your kids to you as well. So that's way, way better than any external advertising any of us, could go after. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Justin, is there any specialized equipment for any optometrist who's interested in getting started in myopia control?
Yeah. There isn't. Yeah. I mean, as long as you have a phoropter and a slit lamp, like you're good to go. Now, I think what you're getting at is axial length has
Mhm.
been said by some as like the gold standard, or like you can't do it well without axial length. And the more I read out of PubMed, I'm not like convinced. And I feel like there's only about a
Hmm.
handful of people that agree with me, and that's fine, right? The reason I say that is because a single measure of axial length doesn't predict your maculopathy risk,
Okay.
because some people are just born with longer eyeballs, thinner crystalline lenses, or vice versa. So you ought to be seeing the change over time, but it's so correlated with the diopters, like it's more important to help the kids. Now, I mean, an optical biometer is like 25 grand, and Optomap Daytona is like 85 grand.
Right.
So yeah, you can pay off a 25K instrument faster than an 85K instrument,
Right.
just again knowing the prevalence of myopia in children. But I wouldn't let that hold you back. I think where it comes in handy is the children that still have hyperopia, and you're wanting to see if they have this accelerated growth rate before the refraction tips into myopia. But also ortho K, right? Like you could do retinoscopy over the ortho K lens and so on. But I think you're going to find more accuracy with measuring axial length every 6 months. But we definitely have practices like Dr. Ashley Tucker's,
Right.
who, she treated like 400 kids before she bought an axial length device. So
Okay.
that should give us some hope.
Yeah, and shout out to Dr. Ashley Tucker. She's here in Houston with me, and I referred quite a few people over to see her. But she's amazing. She's amazing.
Sure,
she's
sure.
amazing. But no, for anyone listening, optometrist, student or resident, Justin is everywhere.
Yeah, really
he's at every conference that I'm at. He's always smiling, and he always has on a fresh pair of shoes. So either he's wearing some Dunks or some Jordans or something, man. So he's around, very approachable. If anybody has any questions about myopia control, definitely reach out to him. He's a leader in the field, man. And we, Justin, we thank you for joining us this evening and watching a little K-pop with the kids and coming on and talking to us about it, man. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Justin.
Thanks for the invite. This has been a joy.
Yeah, for sure. And Jake, well, I mentioned that they're working on sequels in the beginning of the
live
episode.
action.
So now we got to have Justin back in the future.
There you go.
Now I know Justin said him and the kids went and seen the sing-along version. Maybe I watched the sing-along version on Netflix. I see that was up now. So
karaoke.
For sure.
Next time, karaoke and the Korean spa. Yeah.
Right. But
we gotta rate Jacobi.
Oh, that's right. Justin, we rate every movie on the scale of 1 to 10 eyes, 10 being the best. I'll kick us off, man. I'm giving it a strong 8.5, man. I really enjoyed it.
Okay. Yeah. I'll go next, I guess. Yeah, definitely a 9. Sometimes I like to rate it on visual acuity. We'll call it 2015 plus 2. No.
Okay, there we go.
I am a 2015 plus 2. I think I'm going to be at like a 9. Yeah, right around a 9.
Okay.
9-0.
I thought, 236 million people agree with us, man. This is a fantastic movie. No, you don't become the most streamed, most popular movie by on accident, right? So yeah.
No, yeah.
This has got some staying power, and I'm looking forward to the sequel, man.
Yeah.
Jacob, we know how we feel about sequels around here. So
we'll talk about it. We'll see.
For sure. But that's gonna do it for this episode of the Real Odds Podcast with our special guest, Dr. Justin. If anyone's around interested in myopia control, please reach out to him. And any one of our colleagues that want to be guests on the show, you know what it takes, man. We'll pick a movie, we'll watch it, and we'll break it down, man. And we'll love to have you on. But until then, everyone, have a fantastic evening. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Real Eyes Podcast. Be sure to give us a follow on Instagram and TikTok. And remember, don't miss the sequel. Get your eyes checked.
See you next week.